Hi guys, my name's Bill, and in this video I'm going to show you how to troubleshoot this Whirlpool side-by-side refrigerator that the freezer section is still working, but the refrigerator section has stopped getting cold. Alright, so what we're looking at here is the back panel of the freezer compartment, and yours is probably going to be completely covered with frost and ice, and that's a sure sign of a defrost problem. And that's what we're going to be troubleshooting in this video. Okay, so if the back panel of your freezer is completely covered with frost and ice, you're either going to have to use a hairdryer or throw some towels in the bottom of your freezer compartment and pour some water over the back panel so you can get to the screws to remove the back panel. So that's what we're going to do next. Alright, now that we got the screws out, we can go ahead and remove this back panel. Now I'm going to grab it with a pair of needle nose pliers because it is very sharp and you definitely don't want to cut your hand, especially when they're cold. It hurts a lot worse when they're cold. Alright, so now that you got the back panel off, what you're probably going to find is that the freezer coils, or your evaporator coils, have completely frosted over. You probably can't even see them. You can't see the defrost thermostat that's up top there. So basically what's happening is the reason why the freezer still works, or supposedly still works. Now eventually it will stop working because of the lack of airflow. But why your refrigerator section has completely stopped getting cold is because the air can't circulate up to the top of the freezer and then travel through the damper over into the refrigerator compartment, and then basically that cold air is going to fall down and go back through the return vent into the bottom of the freezer compartment. So it makes like a little circular pattern. So once that gets completely froze solid, the air can't circulate anymore, and then your refrigerator section stops getting cold. So this is why we're going to troubleshoot this, and I'm going to show you the easiest step first. Is right now we know the machine is not in defrost because I can see the fan running, the compressor's running. Clearly this needs to get cold and it can't, so it's just going to keep running. So the first thing we're going to do is locate the defrost timer and advance it around to the defrost portion to see if the heater comes on or if the heater doesn't come on. So, to sum this up real quick, if you advance the defrost timer around to defrost and the heater comes on, that means your defrost thermostat's good and the heater itself is good. That means the timer didn't advance around to the defrost portion and go into defrost like it should have. So that means you have a bad defrost timer. So there's, problem number one. You replace defrost timer, clean that completely out with a hairdryer in about a half an hour, 45 minutes of your time, and you're good to go. I'm going to troubleshoot the first thing first. I'm going to advance this around to defrost, and we're going to see if the heater comes on. Okay, so your defrost timer is located here. If you watched the previous video on parts locations, you already know that, but if you haven't, there's a little hole right here, and if you look up inside there, you can see a dial. And before I show you that, I'm going to put the screwdriver in here and turn this. Now I'm going to hold my microphone up to the dial so you can hear it click. Now how this works is every 8 hours, this timer works like a clock. It never stops spinning. It just keeps going around. But every 8 hours, it's going to go into the defrost section for 30 minutes. Doesn't mean the heater's going to stay on for 30 minutes. That's what the defrost thermostat does. It shuts that heater off before the freezer gets too warm and turns your freezer into an oven. But let's listen to this clicking sound. So I'm going to put my flathead screwdriver up inside. Now when you're looking up, you'll want to spin this dial clockwise. So if we start listening, you're going to hear the little clicks, and eventually you're going to hear one big click and you'll hear the fan shut off. Now it's in defrost. Alright, so what we're looking at here is the evaporator. You can see it in the center there. It's like the bluish purple area. Now directly underneath that you can see the defrost heater. It's that little yellowish line. And now that the machine's in defrost, you can see the heater is immediately starting to get extremely hot. And the reason I'm showing you like this is because I'm showing you this because absolutely under no circumstance should you put your fingers on the defrost heater to see if it's on or not. you can get your hand within a couple inches of it and feel heat coming off of it. And in your guys' case, where there's a lot of frost and a lot of ice buildup on those evaporator coils, you're not going to feel it for the first 5 minutes. So definitely give that heater some time to, to be certain whether it's on or not. And once it's on for a while, you're going to go ahead and you're going to hear the water dripping off the coils and, sizzling as it hits the heater. And that heater gets extremely hot, so definitely don't put your fingers on it. You can see I tilt the camera down here, and it's already over 500 degrees, and it's only been on for a couple minutes. Now this refrigerator here didn't actually have a defrost problem. And in a case like this, that defrost thermostat's going to kick off in a matter of a couple minutes, because there's not really, that heat's going to travel right up through those coils and get to the defrost thermostat very quickly and shut it off. And like I said earlier, if that heater were to stay on for the full 30 minutes, the freezer section would turn into an oven. So while you guys are troubleshooting this, don't get the brilliant idea that, if you have a bad defrost thermostat, to just bypass it, because that is absolutely not safe. You can see the water dripping off the coils here. It's going down into the defrost drain there. Now water goes down by the compressor where it can evaporate from the heat of the compressor. And the temperature of our heater is almost, well, now it's over 600 degrees. I fast forward a little bit there. And I'm going to move that camera just a little bit to the left. You can see that it's over 700 degrees. Extremely hot. As soon as you touch it, you're definitely going to get burned. Now let me show you how to test the defrost thermostat and the heater if the heater did not come on when you advance the defrost timer to the defrost section. The first thing we're going to test here is the defrost heater, and I got my leads connected to both ends of the heater, and I have my meter set on ohms. I'm getting a reading of 26.3, and that's a good defrost heater. If you get an OL reading out of limits, then you have a bad defrost heater and you should replace it. But most likely you're going to find that your defrost heater is just fine. And now we're going to test the defrost thermostat. So I got my meter leads connected to the brown and the pink wire on the wiring harness, and my meter set on ohms, and I should get a 0.1 reading when the defrost thermostat is cold and not at room temperature. If it's at room temperature, it's going to show open, or if it's cold and shows open, OL, then it's bad. So the last test what we're going to do here is verify that the defrost timer is putting 120 volts out to the defrost system. So I got my black lead connected to the ground wire up on the fan motor there, and I'm putting my other lead into the pink wire, because that's where the power comes from the defrost timer to the defrost thermostat, and then through the thermostat over to the heater wire there on the brown. So right now I'm going to spin the defrost timer to defrost, and I should get 120 volts. And now I have 120 volts, so I know that the defrost timer is sending the voltage to the defrost thermostat like it should. Okay guys, that's how you troubleshoot the defrost system on a Whirlpool side-by-side refrigerator. If you liked the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you do that now. And of course, thanks for watching.